probably the most famous meme in the game, Eleanor is an extremely frustrating and can also be an extremely fun when everything comes together. Today we're going to go over both versions of Eleanor of Aquitaine, how I usually play her, and I'll be giving her a rank for each victory type as well as an overall victory score at the end. Before I get started, I really want to thank everyone for the great feedback and growth that I'm getting on these videos, and if you like it, please be sure to give me a like to help me beat the final boss, the YouTube algorithm. Let's get something straight right away, before continuing the rest of the guide. First, as Eleanor, you are fully relying on the leader ability, and your civ ability doesn't really come into play that much. That being said, the civ abilities for France are just much more synergistic with her leader ability than those of England. England's civ abilities are focused on trade routes and production, which aren't really going to push you forward as Eleanor because you need things like great works. Which means you need culture, which means France's wonder bonuses tend to help you a little bit more. I really don't understand why they put this as an English leader without changing any part of her kit. I mean, I really do understand why she leads England. She was Richard the Lionheart's mom or grandma or something, but none of her kit nor England's kit really mesh well with each other. So for the purposes of this guide, we're just going to assume that whatever I say about French Eleanor, Englanor is about 50% worse overall because you're really literally only working off of that leader ability. As I said before, Eleanor is 100% focused on that leader ability, Court of Love. If you have any great work in a city that's within 9 tiles of a foreign city, that foreign city will lose 1 loyalty per turn, which is a pretty big boost. That's a lot of loyalty to lose per turn, but you're not going to get a lot of flips off of just one great work. If it completely runs out of loyalty and you have the most loyalty pressure on that city, it will flip to you without becoming a free state. And this is potentially very, very strong, but it is in most situations too late to matter to the game. In order to maximize this ability, you have to ignore it. You have to ignore the whole ability at first while you're taking steps to set it up later. First of all, you need to have a good start. France and Eleanor do not have any bonuses to the start of the game. You really come online in the Renaissance. You have to make sure that you are playing super safe, you're not greedy in the early game, you're expanding well, you're taking up real estate, you're growing your cities, because you need loyalty pressure, and the loyalty from great works is not nearly enough. You're going to need population loyalty to really get flipped. So Eleanor plays well with clusters of city, clumps of cities, and going semi-wide at the beginning. When I play as Eleanor, I always play as France, and I never play as England, and I really just ignore that ability for the first 50-60 turns of the game. I'm playing a standard culture game where I build theater squares, I try to get my great people, I focus on growth and defense, I use theater squares and trade routes to buy my amphitheaters, and I really work on getting defense because I'm always destroyed by barbs early game. To help my leader ability come online later, I always try to do 2 things. I have to get the Void Singers. If you're playing Eleanor without the Void Singers, you are playing Eleanor at like 75% strength. It really doesn't do as well. You need the Void Singers. The cultists are creating great works, and you can put them in any city that has an old god obelisk. You don't need a theater square, and that's a big deal. In the industrial era, they themselves will also remove a lot of loyalty from cities, which you're going to need when the AI has 23, 26, 27 pop cities. You're going to need to do it. I also either promote Moksha or Reina, depending on what I have better production towards, faith or gold. Usually faith at the beginning because I'm building a lot of holy sites as well. I need to purchase theater squares in the border cities, and if I have enough extra governor titles, I get Amani with the emissary title to also put loyalty pressure on other civilizations as well. What you're trying to do is you're trying to target one city and flip it, and use that one city to flip another nearby city to get kind of like a loyalty heart, a loyalty muscle in the middle of an empire, flip their larger cities, and the rest of them are going to fall. I can't stress enough how important it is to play a regular game and ignore that bonus early on. You have no bonus until you get to art museums. Amphitheaters are not going to cut it. You are not going to have nearly enough loyalty pressure off of great works of writing alone. So if you don't build a good empire before that point, you're not going to be flipping any cities and you're going to lose. However, once you get to art museums, if you hit a golden age or a normal age and not a dark age, you have a good chance of snowballing like crazy. Put all your theater squares in your border cities, not your core cities. They're going to start in your core cities and you're going to build archaeological museums there for the culture bonus, but you're going to be putting art museums in those border cities. You put all your great works there, you flip one large population city, you move great works to that city, purchasing the theater square if you need me, and you just rinse and repeat. It works best if you have culture loving neighbors instead of tech loving neighbors, because you'll also be inheriting their great works as well. So if you think about what this means, it means that if you have to purchase your theater squares quickly, if you have to have great works of art instead of just great works of writing, if you need the cultists from the Void Singers, you're playing a standard game until Renaissance and Industrial, and then you're starting to really flip everything. And they're going to flip pretty quickly starting in the Industrial era. The meme with Eleanor is to go for a domination victory, and this is possible if you don't have Tokugawa, I found that out in my recent game, and Dido in your game. You can flip all their cities. You can do this pretty easily if you get the right spawn and you don't get destroyed by the map pretty early. You'll do pretty great. I'm going to give her a 7 out of 10. It feels pretty fun to peacefully take city after city starting in the Renaissance. But you often win another victory before you even get to this because you're going to be producing so much science and so much tourism per turn this way. The victory that you're going to win is going to be culture most of the time. While you're flipping cities, you're putting tourism pressure on everyone and reducing their culture per turn. You're really likely to win a culture victory halfway through the domination victory, unless you take out civs. If you fully take out civs, which is really easy to do, you don't have to work really hard if you started flipping cities, you're going to have a bit of a harder time with culture. But I'm giving her an 8 out of 10 here. Everything else is just not that good for Eleanor. You won't get science or religion or diplo. I wouldn't even try, to be perfectly honest. Don't try to do it. To get to the point of doing those victories, you would almost be done with your peaceful domination or culture victory, so everything else is about a 3 out of 10. It's doable, but it's not fun. Eleanor is a civ that needs game modes like Secret Societies to be fun. She requires a good player to pilot her through the early game, and she is not a beginner-friendly civ. You have literally no bonuses going for you until the Renaissance to Industrial era. So that's when your leader ability is everything, and France's bonus to Wanderers is only going to slightly help get stuff like Bolshoi Theater and stuff like that. She's a one-trick pony that has a super cool trick, but it takes practice and dedication to pull it off. France Eleanor is a B-tier civ because it feels good when it works. English Eleanor is a D-tier civ. It really is such a big difference. The feeling you get playing England, trying to go for harbors and getting extra production on your, just getting extra strategic resources compared to France's bonuses towards wonders, because you're going to be building a lot more wonders as France. Try her out if you haven't tried her before, but I don't think she's a civ that you're going to play all the time. She's fun, but she's not amazing. Thank you everyone for watching, and let me know what you think about Eleanor below. I'll catch you next time when we're going to be covering Elizabeth, a new leader added in the Rulers of England Pass, and one that is surprisingly strong. Goodbye.